Welcome to Talking TSM, the Game House's talk show about TSM's LCS team. I'm Robert Haynes, your host and your guide into the world of TSM's LCS team. And we won a game. It's a miracle. Feels like every win that we get currently is a miracle, regardless of what anybody else says. And I am intrigued. Intrigued is the right word. By how things are going and what this all means. So, I put out, I think, some pretty good tweets this weekend. I rarely give myself that credit, honestly. I'm not a great follow on Twitter, but recently I feel like I have put out some good stuff. So I will go through that a little bit. We'll go through the games first and foremost. We'll talk about the games, and then we're going to discuss a little bit more about this Soul thing, and then I will finally let you guys stop hearing about just hearing me bitch and moan truly about it. As much as I love to try to get my point across, Also, in the comment section below, let me know what you guys thought of this week's games. Are you feeling a lot better about this team? Are you still a little unsure like me? Does it really matter in the end? I guess we're going to find out here, but we'll go through that and more later. I also would like to thank Zekstrap on the TSM, Talking TSM Discord. In my last rant, I went on and on and on about how Soul was 18. I did get confirmation basically directly from the source that he is 21, actually. I don't know why I was under the impression that he was 18. It doesn't totally change my opinion on him and everything else, but I guess I remember the conversation I had with, with Instinct, Soul, and with X Smithy, and I thought for some reason in there that they had said that Soul was just a little bit older than Instinct, who was also 17 or 18. And I know that I wasn't the only one. Even the person who wrote the article for Nerd Street, good guy and friend Nick Geraci, said that he was under the same impression as I was that he was 18. And there's nothing out there officially until this article stating differently. So I do want to say that I am extremely sorry. I still think my point stands in terms of why they're letting a 21-year-old make the decision, and I think I elaborated this a little bit better because I watched TSM Legends, and I'll go over that, like I said, here a little bit later. But I did want to apologize for the misinformation. That was absolutely not my intent. I really was under the impression that he was 18. I know I was not the only one. Again, doesn't really change my perspective much on him. 21's a little bit older, but that to me is all the more reason that he needs to get experience now. But I digress. I admit my mistakes. I will happily admit my mistakes. I thank you guys for caring enough to tell me, because otherwise I would just sat there looking like an idiot. So yeah, in case if it was not clear, Soul is 21 currently. So good for him. I guess he can go out for a drink to celebrate anytime he does something well. So good for him. All right, into this week's games. We had Team Liquid and Golden Guardians. Now, I would love, to play the guessing game of which game do you think that we won. But, most of you who are watching the show have watched the games. Otherwise, I don't know why you'd be here, because I'd be spoiling the entire games for you. So, heading into the Team Liquid loss, it was a weird draft. I didn't agree as much with the desk. They were saying there was no good form of engage, and I completely disagree. I mean, you can absolutely start fights with Ornn ult. You can absolutely have Maple go in there as Silas. And yeah, Braum is more disengaged, but he can absolutely lead the charge, get up into the front line with Maple or Spica in this comp, and I think have a lot of effect, because truly, yeah, it's hard to get onto the back line of this team, but I just think TL had a better draft than we did, frankly. But I'm cool with how how everything went. I thank them for banning Poppy for us. Very, very kind of them. Very, very much appreciated. Good stuff there. The Azir ban, I would have liked to have had that in this game, but that's okay. And then the Zeri ban was unfortunate, but we needed to see Instinct on a different champion, and we did. He got focused really, really hard. And, everybody's going to see this scoreline of Instinct and be like, oh my God, 0-6-1. Like, he's just not that good, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, the team was clearly not playing towards the bot side. They left him hanging out to dry multiple times in this game. I don't think his positioning in team fights was necessarily great, but a Jinx with just a Braum, I don't think, you can run past the Braum in all reality. And, for a Rakan to get onto him is not very hard. For a Wukong to get onto him, it's not very hard. And all Bjergsen has to do is press R, also known as the skill button, and he can basically either mostly chunk or completely chunk down Instinct, and there's nothing they can do about it. The laning phase, I would have liked to have gone better. I don't think that they were in a position to, necessarily have a great laning phase, but this draft just feels weird. I don't really understand the Sylas pick. I actually think Lissandra would have been a little bit better here. Gives you that lockdown as somebody's trying to jump onto him. There was no Lissandra ban that I can see. Seems like NA is just much more reluctant to play her, which makes no sense to me. She still looks pretty strong throughout the rest of the world. So I don't know. I don't love that. I also don't love the Seraphine ban from them. If they want to play Seraphine, then let them. Not that she's not a great champion and everything, but her laning phase, while strong, is not. I don't know. I guess she is pretty strong right now, but she'll be getting nerfed in 12.14, so it's not enough, I think, to completely take her out of the meta, but whatever. And then, I don't really understand the Trundle ban once they banned the Poppy as well. I know Trundle is pretty good in almost anything, but his biggest thing right now is that he counters Poppy. So if they're banning Poppy, then what's the point of banning the Trundle necessarily? I guess it was because they were planning on playing the Ornn for Instinct or for Solo. Excuse me. And he looked fine on it. Ornn is not necessarily a hard champion to play, and I'm glad that they gave him something super easy to pilot. He's played into Bwipo, or never actually. I don't think he's ever played against Bwipo now that I think about it, but. Solo's a good. He's solid. He is solid, and he looked solid in this game on Ornn. I wish they would have let Sol play Ornn. That would have been great because I think Ornn is such a forgiving champion that you can make mistakes but recover fairly easily. You never really see an Ornn get down because he's useful as long as he hits level 14 for the rest of the game, and so. I am still very confused as to why Solo or why they wouldn't put Sol on Ornn at some point, but whatever. Our comp was just really, again, hard to pilot. I don't think the Viego really does well into anything on this against this team. I think the resets on them would have been really hard. Again, between the Bjergsen stuns, the quickness, and the Charming, from Rakan, the knock-up from Santorin, just the massive amounts of damage from GP. I don't, which is the build that Bwipo went with was interesting. He was trying to get value when he was being put really far behind. But, against this team, I don't really know why you would not try to play towards bot. Hans Sama has not been great. This was probably one of his best games of the year, and he didn't really have to do much. He just pressed E and would let the rest of his team get in there, and then he'd ult or try to run in and do a little bit of damage. I mean, I did not love this draft. I think a lot of people are going to point to a game like this and be like, "Oh, Instinct just isn't the guy, right?" And to that, I say, "Phooey on you." Whatever, we'll get past this game, and we did get past this game, and we went into this Golden Guardians game and were relatively dominant. I was very impressed. I actually really liked Golden Guardians' comp. I felt like ours was pretty safe. Now, they didn't. Their bot lane was definitely going to be a problem, and it ended up becoming one. But when I'm looking at this draft, they banned the Talia, the Zeri, and the Seraphine. Looks like Red Side has to ban Seraphine at this point because otherwise you first pick it. I think Zeri needs to be banned too. So, good on Golden Guardians to take care of that. Taking away the Callista from Stixxay was fine, I guess. River, taking away the Wukong, I think was a good decision. And then the Fiora from Licorice, he can absolutely carry on that champion, and they didn't want to put Solo in a bad position. I also really liked our bans later on, taking the Lucian and the Yuumi away. We had just seen Lucian Nami almost win Golden Guardians, a pretty big game this earlier, the day before. And then Yumi's just really strong, even with the Zeri ban. She's just good. So, and then, they responded with the Rakan and with the Renata Glask, which have been Chime's 2 best champions. And then he goes, hey, screw you. I'm just going to play my best champion, Bard. And, this laning phase was just okay for Instinct. It was better, but, I think the casters said this, and I 100% agree with them. He has the ranged matchup, and while I know that the Senna can be scary, if you just chunk her down, especially early on, like first 3, 4, 5 levels, she's very, very squishy, and there's not a whole lot that Ole could have done on the Sejuani to stop this. Now, the Sejuani obviously has basically a CC immune to a certain degree, like at least a slow immune early on. So Chime wasn't as effective, and they kind of had to leave Instinct alone to get, I think, the full use out of the Bard. But I still feel like Instinct played pretty well this game. I mean, it's the dichotomy of what happens when they don't pick a completely losing lane. I think is very substantial, and this team, like they were saying, looked coordinated. They knew where to go, and I guess that's the one thing about having Solo on this team is he always knows where to go. He's been playing for over a decade. He knows how to play this game, and he is solid. I don't think he's as good as the rest of everybody else on the desk, and everything was the analyst desk and on the caster desk. They're all like, oh, Solo's this great player, and it's like, but he didn't have a team, and yeah, age is a factor, but you're going to tell me that a 29-year-old is that much better than some of the other options we had in the LCS? I mean, he may end up being, and I'm not going to sit here and shit on Solo, by the way. This game in particular, I think he played it extremely well. He pretty much nullified Licorice, and that's what you have to do to win games like this one. Is Licorice is a point of a win con for Golden Guardians here, and the Gwen is very strong if you leave her alone. We can look at our old friend Broken Blade, who's been absolutely dominating. I mean, truly taking over games with her himself. And, they never let her get to the Rabbidan's death cap, which is great. They kept her under tower, under farmed, pretty much everything. And we moved around the map well. We didn't need to worry about Drakes as much. We really didn't worry about objectives all that much. We just said, screw it. We're just going to focus on towers. We're going to focus on winning skirmishes and defending against dives and other plays that River is going to try to do. Giving up that double kill to Chime early on was, everybody's like, oh, well, Stixxay got 2 kills, and that is great. Don't worry. I mean, Senna's insanely strong if the game goes on long enough. But, Chime was able to really use it well, and I think he played outstandingly, and I'm glad that he got player of the game because I can't imagine why he wouldn't have. He was all over the place. He's so good. And we got our 4th win. Hell, I mean, I'm not going to complain. I mean, this is good. This is what we wanted. We went 3-6 and the start, and we're now 1-3 in our first 4 games. So we still got 5 left, and I mean, you got to get 2 more somewhere. I did say that we would be able to beat Golden Guardians. I really would have thought it would have been better for us to win with Soul, but again, I digress. I promise I will get to this point, my last points on this here in a little bit, but Solo looked more comfortable with the team. He was able to follow instructions well, and that's what you want out of a veteran. When you sign him to play, he is going to come in and hopefully just fit right in with what is going on with the team, right? Otherwise, what's the point of signing him this late? So it's very clear to me that they feel like, he has the experience. He doesn't need the extra time. Like, if this team is going to win more games during the regular season, which is apparently their goal right now, then yeah, Solo is a better choice for sure. Do not get me wrong. I am, and I'm happy that we won. I know it may not seem like it. When I look at this standings right now, we are tied for 7th. I think it's as high as we could get. We'd have to do some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, I think we'd have to basically win 4 out of our next 5 games to be anywhere else. I mean, we're literally battling for the last 2 spots in playoffs, but with Immortals losing 2 heartbreakers, with Dignitas essentially punting on the season, and now we have the advantage, or at least the tie, with Golden Guardians. I mean, we're in a good position now for playoffs. Like, that was a huge, huge, huge win. Again, the rest of the map, it doesn't really matter. Like, FlyQuest is kind of FlyQuest CLG. They're kind of the gate guardians. If you guys remember Yu-Gi-Oh, they're going to be the ones keeping us out of the top 6, and that is unfortunate. Again, we'd have to win all 5. We would probably have to win 4 at least, but more likely all 5 of our games to even sniff the double elimination bracket, which, again, I don't think it matters, but whatever. I am glad that they are trying, and a win was absolutely huge for morale. I'm sure the TSM fan base are feeling a lot better. Actually, I went and checked on Reddit, and people are already praising Solo as, wow, what a great pickup, and oh man, this team just looks so much different with him on it, and they are right. Like, the thing is I can't argue with them, because they are correct. The team does look better with Solo on it. We are going to probably win another, I would venture to guess, 2 games. I think we'll find another 2 wins in our next 5. And again, I personally believe that means playoffs, which is fine. Great. But again, I say, who cares? Who cares when we're not going to beat in a best of 5 FlyQuest, Cloud9, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, and probably not CLG, but the way that they are currently playing. So, yeah, great. Playoffs. We break the one time that we don't make it streak. Awesome. Great. Good. And I know I am sounding facetious or sarcastic or whatever wording you want to use for it. I do genuinely care that we won, and it is good. I've never been less enthusiastic about a win, but I still am happy that we won. I would prefer to win than lose, for sure. But, and we'll go into the schedule here in a minute, talk about that. But I think I put out some good tweets here. And I want to talk about this really, really quickly. Let me see. I got to find this here. So Azael was on the desk, and he said, I don't really get the point of trying to go for 8th. I made it clear on this show. I'll make it clear on Hot Takes as well. I don't really care about 8th place. Great. It's not last, but when 75% of the league, no, 80% of the league, makes it to playoffs, I don't really care. That's not an accomplishment. That is the bare minimum, in my opinion. Great. I tweeted, this team has nothing left in the tank. I was wrong. I'm glad. Very glad. I'm super glad that I was wrong about that one. Let me see here. Where is this? I guess I cursed Golden Guardians. Said I'm all in on the Golden Guardians hype train for the rest of the season. Oops. So I watched TSM Legends, And it felt like the entire time it was like, oh, our Soul is getting all this attention. Instinct is getting all this attention. Everybody loves them. This is good. This is great. This is what we needed. And good on the TSM team for showing us that. What was telling to me is Solo wasn't in it at all, first off. Secondly, at the very end, and I tweet this, just watch the TSM Legends. In the end there is why I am upset. Wow, it's bad. And at the end is why I'm upset about the Soul situation. He explains it, and it almost feels like he's, not, got a gun to his head or anything, but that he is being pressured into this sort of mentality here. He shouldn't have to do what is best for the org, especially when it is making playoffs at 8th. It should be about making him the best player possible for his and TSM's future. And that's the statement that I am going to stick by. It shouldn't be what is best for the org right now. Like, sure, that's a selfless thing. And I go on to say, I respect that he believes it is correct. And maybe it will be for him in his future. But I personally just don't completely understand it. Especially when he is pointing out, and he said this, that he can't learn as much down on Academy as with the LCS team. Why is it a young player's responsibility to make a sacrifice like this so that the team can finish in 7th or 8th place? I don't care. And I said this as well. Don't get me wrong. I love that TSM won. Like, I really do. Winning is way more fun than losing. But for me, 8th doesn't matter. I want TSM back at the top. Not just happy with making an 8-team playoff. Glad that now is going well, but I'm still unsure about the future. Now, I'm going to talk about Instinct and Chime here in a minute, too, because I want to give them as much love as they deserve here, which is a lot. I get it, guys. I really get it. Like, a lot of you, I don't think have, maybe not you, but a lot of people as TSM fans, I don't think have ever experienced what traditional sports are like. Okay? And that's okay. Like, it's not expected that you care about or watch traditional sports. But there will be, this is just a fact. There will always be times where teams will not be as good as people hope, where players do not pan out, where things do not go as expected, where there is massive change like what has happened with TSM, and where things will not be going, again, the way that we all would hope. Like, yes, we would love to see TSM fighting for the top every year, but guess what? We have had year after year after year of failure in our minds. Every year we should be the team up there. Every year we should be the one going to Worlds. Every year we should be contending for a championship. And in the last 3-4 years since basically Doublelift left, we have won one championship. Oh, wait, sorry, that's when Doublelift came back. Now, Doublelift is a competitor, and he is awesome. But even he struggled at first. Bjergsen was not as great in Europe before he came over to NA and started to learn and get better. We are just used to TSM being at the top, and that there was going to be a day where we were not going to be at the top. We are in that time period now. And ownership and fans can either push for the team to be below average, but better than terrible. And that's a cycle that you can continue by not giving talent time to grow and get better. And we can hope that, we'll just spend all this money and bring people in. Well, that's not always working now, is it? TSM have to realize, and I think they're starting to at least a little bit, investing in NA talent is the way that they are going to win more. And the more time that we give these players to get better, because it's not like, the problem is I think everybody expects for a player to come in and just instantly be good. I'm going to give you an example. Players does this well. The show just ended recently. Great show. And you see Organism, the main character, come up. A little bit of spoiler alert here. He comes up and he struggles a little bit at the beginning. Okay? He's not like, and everybody's like, oh, this kid's a god. He's amazing. He's an 18-year-old solo queue grinder, unbelievable player, right? Not even somebody who's gone through like academy, right? Originally he was going to be on their academy squad, and then they just push him up, like literally the first episode. And for me, like some of these players, this is what happens. It takes time to get better at the game. Sure, they can know the game. They can be challenger tier, whatever. But to be a pro, right? To be able to consistently go against the best of the best, this is a team game. It's not an individual skill game. So no matter how individually skilled you are, if you don't know how to play well with a team, if you don't know how to play against a team that knows how to play well together, then you're going to lose games. Plain and simple. And the players are not going to look as good. Right? I think Instinct is a prime example of this down on Academy. He even says it in TSM Legends without flaming his other supports. This is the best. Chime's the best support he's ever played with. And look at how he is performing. I'm going to bring up his stats real quick. All right. And this is him, playing obviously in very, very small amount of games. In 6 games, he has 17 kills, 12 deaths, 19 assists. His goal difference isn't great, but his XP difference is fine because it means he's staying alive and doing well. His death percentage is less than 1/5 of the team's, which is honestly fine. His kill participation is good. His CS per minute is good. Like, everything that we were praising Tactical about, by the way, Instinct is doing as well or better. He's had 2 games where he had like 0 kills. So he's averaging, 4 kills a game almost? It's crazy. I mean, literally, we almost have an exact... I didn't even realize this until I brought this up, but we have almost an exact comparison between Instinct and Tactical this season. 6 games for Instinct, 7 for Tactical. Okay, they have the same amount of wins currently. All right. They each had 2 wins while playing with each other, obviously. Or playing, on the team. 17 kills for Instinct in 1 less game, 14 kills for Tactical. 12 deaths for Instinct, 20 for Tactical. Both have 19 assists. A KDA of 3 for Instinct, 1.7 for Tactical. Tactical had a lot more first bloods, but also got a lot more attention in the bot lane. His goal difference and XP difference were better, and yet he did nothing with it. CS per minute's almost the exact same. Damage per minute is essentially dead even, 432, 422. Damage percentage of the team, essentially even. This is crazy. Earned gold per minute is basically the same. Instinct is essentially, currently, at the ripe age of 17, 18. I don't know exactly. Let me check. I want to make sure I got this right this time. At the ripe age of 18, as of a couple weeks ago. And he is as good as Tactical, who is... Let me check. Turning 22 in a couple weeks. So a 4-year difference. Now, obviously, Tactical has had better success overall. But right now, Instinct is already as good as Tactical currently. And it feels like as though Instinct has a better mental, according to Chime, according to TSM Legends. And that doesn't surprise me either. This kid doesn't seem to be phased at all. I don't really know that he really understands exactly what's going on. And not to say like in a bad way, I think he really hasn't taken that like 30,000 foot view as like, holy crap, like look at where I'm at. And I think that's a good thing. I think he's able to ignore some of the outside noise and allow himself to just grow the way we want him to. And you can already see it. They are getting better. That's exciting. The team is hopefully going to commit. I swear to you, if they pull up freaking Tactical and Mia at any point for the rest of this split, outside of an injury, an emergency, anything that is going to keep Tactical or Instinct from playing, I'm going to lose it on here, on Twitter, everywhere. Because you have an AD carry who, yes, everybody wants him to be Danny and all this other crap. Like, dude, it still took Danny, like, about a year really to kind of figure it out. Imagine if you give Instinct the kind of support and resources that Danny has and Danny had. That team was way better than this current TSM team. Everybody was ready to write him off. They better not. Commit to him. Commit to Chime. Do it. They look good. They're exciting. They look comfortable, and they are only 4 games on the team. They've only played, 4, 5, 6 games? 6 games. 6 games. Sorry, 6 games on this team, and they're already playing better. Like Chime even said, I'm starting to refine my voice. Dude, I love this bot lane right now. They're good. They're good. They're better than Stixay Ole. Right now, they're making probably about half as much. Keep them both. Commit to them, man. It's a good, solid foundation in the bot lane right now. Sure, it's going to take time. And Instinct is still going to make mistakes. And he's still going to look bad in some games. But he's 18, man. And he's playing like as good as Tactical it was. And he was thrust into the position completely unaware. I mean, they even said it. They just pulled him aside after scrims. They said, hey, come scrim with the team for a little bit. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, you're on the team. It's like 2 games or whatever for all 3 of them. I'm just telling you, like, TSM and building up players, right? That's what creates dynasties. I don't want one-offs. I don't want, we made playoffs. Who cares? I don't give a shit about either of those things. What I want is for TSM to regain their position as a team to be feared, as a team that people want to come play for. You don't do it by playing solo and winning enough games to make 8th place in playoffs. By stunting the growth of a player who will be here next year instead of a player who won't. Solo will not be on this team next year. I can almost guarantee it. And if he is, then there is a serious problem in TSM's management group. Because not one of the, outside of if this team makes the most unbelievable run to Worlds, which they should never do, but outside of that, there is no reason Solo should be on this team next year. So I ask you guys, let me know in the comments what you think, truly. And this will be it for me on the Solo Soul thing, unless if for some reason Soul comes back, which I hope he does. Would you rather win now or win consistently in the future? Would you rather be a middling team? Or would you rather be able to build something that's going to last? That's the decision that this management group is going to have during the offseason. And one that they have right now, and one that I do not think that they are doing. Luckily for us, Chime and Instinct look great. And I love Chime, by the way. Chime might be my new favorite player on the team already. Maple's not doing it for me, and I'm a little iffy right now on Spica. I hope he stays. I really do. And I kind of hope they get rid of Maple, to be honest with you. I don't think he's really doing much. Now, there's reasons for that and whatever, but if you ain't winning now with those two, I don't really know what the point is. Because they're not doing much anyways, so I don't know. There are problems that need to be figured out with this team. And I would prefer that they start looking towards the future. I'd rather have 1 veteran in Spica and 4 young guys than what we have had in the past. And when I say young guys, I'm going to start meaning less experienced. Because, you know what? Chime, luckily, is playing a position where you can play till you're 30. Afromove's showing that. Sport's just not as demanding mechanically, which means that you can play longer. So we're kind of getting Chime in, I think, a really, really, really good time. And it's crazy because they were looking at him this offseason. I don't know which offseason. I don't know if it was during the winter or during the spring-ish summer offseason, MSI offseason. But he even said, yeah, they were looking at me, and then Golden Guardians said I should take the chance, which good on Golden Guardians, by the way, for doing that. Not that they apparently had a plan for him, and I'm sure they're regretting that now because, again, I just don't get the Ole thing. But Chime is solid. I think he's only going to get better, and I think a team that instills confidence and trusts him, I think that is going to pay off. Like, you can tell, I can see him being a future leader on this team and being a voice of reason and a mature person for this team. I really, really like what I am seeing there. Gotta give him so much credit. Okay, so last things here. So we got 5 games left, and we are currently, we are currently in 7th. Crazy. Truly crazy. This coming weekend, now I'm going to do quick predictions here. We have Evil Geniuses. That will definitely be a loss, even though they look a little bit more mortal. Then we get Dignitas. That has to be a win in my mind. I will explain that on Thursday. But you got to win that one, period. That team was bad before. They are actually terrible now, okay, in terms of LCS. They got young guys that maybe might pan out, whatever. I don't care. If our goal is to make playoffs now, which that's what they're committing to, then this team has to win that Dignitas game, period. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They cannot be the only 2 wins that Dignitas get this split. Okay? They have got to go win that game. Straight up. That gets them to 5 wins, and then we have Super Week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday games. August 12th, 13th, and 14th. Okay? We play CLG. I think a relatively beatable game. We play Cloud9. I don't know about that one as much. And then we get FlyQuest. Also don't know about that one as much. I get us to 5 wins for sure. We're going to have to pull a rabbit out of our hat and get a 6th win somewhere in there. I don't know where. I would say most likely, again, I would say it's CLG. But Cloud9 and FlyQuest are clearly beatable. I'd have to see there. Now we're going to look at our opponents' schedules, because I think it really comes down to whatever Immortals do. I don't mind or worry as much about Golden Guardians now, but we'll look at both. So Golden Guardians play 100 Thieves. That's probably a loss. Then they play Immortals. That's going to be a huge game. I'm going to be rooting for Golden Guardians there because, well, they're already tied with us anyways. We're a game ahead of Immortals. If that puts Immortals back another game and we win on that Sunday, August 7th, then we're almost guaranteed a playoff spot at that point, because then Immortals will be down 2 games. They'd have to win basically all 3 of their games for them to come back and make it happen. Immortals are a lot better than Golden Guardians, but I'm going to be pulling that hopefully River has figured it out with the rest of this team by then. Golden Guardians then play Evil Geniuses. That is a loss. Golden Guardians then play Team Liquid. That is also a loss, probably. Then Golden Guardians play Dignitas. It's probably a win. So they're looking at about 5 or 6 wins themselves. Okay, so that puts them at least tied-ish with us. Immortals, they play Dignitas. God, that would be awesome if Dignitas found a way to win that game, but I don't think so. So I think Immortals ties us there. Then, like I said, I think regardless who wins or loses this game on that Sunday, that is so big for us. I didn't realize that they hadn't played each other yet. So, technically all 3 teams will be tied for the last 2 playoff spots at this point. Winner of that game will have the advantage, essentially. So, I'm going to pick Golden Guardians to win this game, so that puts Immortals tied with us. Actually a game behind us, because I'm picking us to beat Dignitas. Okay. Then Immortals play Cloud9. That's definitely a loss. Then they play FlyQuest. I think that's a loss. And then they play CLG. Wow, they play the exact same teams that we do. So in the last week, so that's gonna be the determining factor. Here's the deal. I think they lose all 3 of them. I think we keep a 1-game lead, and I think we make the playoffs. That's my predictions for right now. I can't believe we would make playoffs with 5 freaking wins, but hey, whatever. It happens. That August 7th game, this coming Sunday, will be the most important game of the entire year for this team. Plain and simple. They have to beat Dignitas. They have to, if they want to make playoffs. They just have to. Draft has to be good. That game will determine everything for the rest of the season, in my opinion, because we have quite the gauntlet to run through in that last week of games. FlyQuest, Cloud9, and the other one? In CLG. I think actually IMT play TL. And they play Cloud9, FlyQuest, and CLG. No, okay, so yeah, we play all the same teams. I mean, there's a world where this team really comes together, and Instinct and Spica and Maple are able to really come together with Chime and Solo on the edges and play really well and win a couple good games. I mean, there's a real world where that can happen. Evil Geniuses are looking beatable right now. They're still very good. They're still by far the best team. But they lose focus and they could lose. So we'll have to see. But I'm just telling you guys now. The August 7th game against Dignitas. Circle it on your calendar. If we want to make playoffs, that has to be the win. I would actually love, honestly, and this is going to sound really terrible, but I would love if we win that game, if we just play Sol in the last week and in the playoffs. And thanks Solo for his 2 wins that he helped us get. I'd be a lot less upset with the TSM management if they just said, hey, Solo, you're here to help us get to playoffs, and we'll pay you for it, and we'll thank you for it. Then we're going to put Solo in. I mean, that'd be doing him dirty, don't get me wrong, but if this organization is serious about competing and contending in the future, then yeah, that's going to be something they're going to want to do. Now, I would talk about the rumors of them leaving to the LEC, but I'm just going to tell you right now, the only thing that I heard about that was that they had discussed and just wanted to look into what that would look like. I think they did their due diligence. Obviously, they ended up staying. What I've been told is that TSM are just really upset with the way the LCS is being run. I can't blame them. There were about 100,000 plus people watching for the C9 game. C9 versus who'd they play on Sunday? C9 Team Liquid game. There's about 100,000 people watching plus, probably. At least what I saw on, I think it was Twitch or YouTube. I can't remember which one. I think that's great. I mean, most esports can't get, they get pumped about 40,000 people watching. So I think it's all perspective when it comes to viewership. Sure, the LCS isn't growing, but I think it's pretty stable right now, which means that you can launch it to a position of growing at some point. You just got to find a way to do it. So that's going to be on them, and I think TSM will be. I think TSM are here for the long haul, but I mean, you never know at this point. Esports organizations act very strangely, time and time again. I'll let you guys know if I'm hearing anything about them selling their spot or something like that. Again, I have not heard that. I've heard that they are fine, right now. But I mean, I will tell you, if they sell that spot, then sadly the show no longer exists. I guess we could turn it into Talking Team Liquid or something like that. I don't know. I don't really know where I'd go with it at this point, but we'll find out. So I really wouldn't worry about it, though. From what it all sounds like, is it's just they're pissed off, and I think they did this to make a point to the people at the LCS that things need to change, things need to get better. And they do. Things do need to get better. So, yeah, I am. I'm not worried. You guys shouldn't be worried. I really am not. And I think I think this weekend's going to be interesting. That Saturday game is going to be whatever, but that Sunday game, I will be watching very intently, and I hope that you do too. Oh boy, craziness going on, fam. Absolutely craziness. With that, if you like this show, please take a second to like, subscribe, and comment on either of the 2 things that I asked you to comment on. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, hit that bell icon so you don't miss any shows. Frame by Frame has been coming out. Hot Takes, 2 episodes of this for the next 2 weeks. I guess 3 technically, because I do think we'll make playoffs at this point. So, yay for us. I want to continue to make this the #1 TSM podcast out there. So, leave any reviews. Tell me I'm a raving psycho. Sometimes I can be, I guess. So, yeah, that'd be fine. I wouldn't mind it. Please share this with your friends. You can hit me up on Twitter at TGH Robert Haynes. You can check out the Gamehouse's Twitter at TGH Esports. Lastly, head to thegamehouse.com. We'll have a lot of interesting stuff coming out. New month, new me. Is that how that works? I don't know. Maybe. But we got a lot of good stuff coming out, so make sure that you guys jump on into that and give it a look. with that, thank you for tuning in. The show comes out every Monday and Thursday, and it's still exclusively for your TSM ear holes. I'm Robert Haynes, and this has been Talking TSM. I'll see you all on Thursday.